So, what? Whoa. Bro's fight or flight is fight against Jason Voorhees. Generic intro and the that goes movie here, back with another kill count. Today we're doing another doubleheader, but it's by two different franchises, which is going to be Uncle Sam from 1996, a year before I was born. Never heard of this movie. I've heard of Uncle Sam before, but not a killer movie named Uncle Sam. And then we're also going to be doing Never Hike Alone, which I don't know if that's supposed to be like Jason. I think Jason wore a mask like that, but I doubt that's Jason. It's also only 11 minutes long, which is rather short. We're doing both of those today. The timestamps are over there, and then next week we'll probably get to the Jurassic Park movies, which I think I've seen like I think I've seen clips of like the first one, and then I saw like the Jurassic World series that came out the past couple years, like Chris Pratt and whatnot. You can check a reaction to the last video, which was a triple header with all three of the Purge movies, which I've only seen the very first one. I'll leave my reaction to that right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also in a place on my channel with all my other kill counts going in chronological order. Also, shout out to the patrons, because I could not do this if it was not for them. And also, shout out to all the people that came out to the charity stream that we did the other day for Operation Airdrop. Ended up raising over $1,200 for that charity, which is helping hurricane relief victims and stuff like that. It was awesome to see. I'm so proud of my community. I love my community. My community is my greatest accomplishment. So thank you to all the people that were there. And thank you to all the people watching these videos. I do read every single one of your comments, so leave them down below. And I hope I can make your day just tiny little bit better. But let's go ahead and jump into Uncle Sam. That sounded wrong. I don't want to be jumping into my Uncle Sam.
Owned entirely by the copyright holders. Dead Meat makes no claim of ownership and simply uses the footage for purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support filmmakers and the art of filmmaking by watching Uncle Sam in its entirety on home media or streaming services where available.
There was I saw like an Instagram post or something, and they like broke it down by like so much per minute. And so I was like, I read that as James A. Janice.
I'm wearing this shirt for a third kill count because today we're looking at Uncle Sam, released in 1996 or 1997. The internet doesn't seem to know. If you're like me, you probably expected a movie with a murderous Uncle Sam to be a mindless slasher with a perfunctory pro-America message behind it. But Uncle Sam is not that. The script, written by Larry Cohen of the It's Alive and Maniac Cop series, tries to deliver a message about the difference between being a good soldier and being a good killer, but it gets bogged down in an effort to touch on pretty much everything else related to the military too. Corrupt officers, PTSD, the morality of draft dodging, you name it, it's here. Then shit gets really weird, and before you know it, you've got Isaac Hayes and a telepathic blind kid shooting cannonballs at a zombie soldier. But let's back up a bit, because before that thrilling conclusion, there are a fair number of kills to see, so let's get to them.
Wait, whoa, huh? Wait.
The movie begins in Kuwait, a country we used to fight in. It was like 10 countries ago. There's been a helicopter accident in the desert, so this major with a Saddamish mustache shows up to direct the situation with a voice that sounds part Panzer.
Just a major showed up?
Helicopter. See if you can ID anybody by their tags.
Sergeant Sillyface takes a look at the crash and finds 2 dead bodies in there that we can go ahead and kick off our count with. Apparently, this chopper was shot down by friendly fire, and even though the major's all like,
also that old
camo,
happens,
that's not good enough for Master Sergeant Sam Harper, whose body they find in the front seat of the chopper. Sam opens his eyes, reaches out, and twists the other sergeant's head around in an excellent lightning strike kill to keep the count going. Sam takes the sergeant's firearm and shoots through the guy's body to hit the major at least twice, maybe more, in a very subordinate kill. Someone's looking to get court-martialed, but Sam don't care. He's full of spite about the accident.
Don't be afraid. It's only friendly fire.
And then he dies? Question mark. I mean, he does, but he'll be back as a zombie. But
so
still,
is that the message or something?
Keep that shit going. Cue the title
card.
That
friendly fire?
Oh yeah, these opening credits. I love patriotic imagery backed by John Philip Sousa. Seriously though, this old footage of Times Square and other historical stuff is actually pretty cool. Plus, I like Ike. Then we jump to the town of Twin Rivers in the state of USA. Looks like America's birthday is only 3 days away, and I still don't know what to get it. This little wienery kid Jody jostles around in bed for a while before he knocks over a framed picture of his Uncle Sam Harper, the Uncle Sam. Chopper. Jody steps on the broken glass and cuts his foot, and that does something to Sam's corpse. There's some weird Stephen King-like magic going on in this movie. Just wait till he gets married. While Jody gets his foot patched up from his mom Sally, he tells her he dreamt about his Uncle Sam, and judging by the kid's infatuation with the guy, it was probably a wet one. Meanwhile, Sam's wife Louise gets home from a date with Deputy Phil, since Sam's been gone for 3 years, and she assumes he must be dead at this point. At least as dead as the romance in this car. Sorry, Deputy, she's exercising her right to leave you with with some blue balls. Waiting on her porch is creepy Sergeant Twining, played by Bo Hopkins, who
time
tells her
of
that her husband
night?
is dead and that he'll stay in town long enough to help with all the funeral arrangements. The next morning, after Jody drools all into his bowl of cereal, Louise tells Sally about her
That didn't
visit
look
from
like
Sergeant
cereal.
Twining. They both seem to have a complicated reaction.
Also, hopefully I don't have to blur
bordering on
anything.
relief, because it sounds like Sam was a real asshole who had them both terrified of him. Maybe he just wanted to terrorize one of them, but couldn't tell them apart. I know I'm having a hard time here. Jody, meanwhile, still thinks his uncle is a hero, and is such a Sam fan that in school later that day, he just forces a goddamn show and tell session with all of Sam's medals. It makes his teacher, Mr. Crandall, a little uncomfortable.
Also, bring an ammo
He was
can
a
to
Vietnam
school.
protester who left the country rather than fight what he thought was an unjust war.
It was a very difficult thing to do, Jody. Those who left the country felt it was a lesser evil, and blindly following orders they knew were wrong.
Jody and his camo pants think that sounds like Pinko talk, and he swears to himself that he's gonna grow up and join the army.
And I'll do whatever the president says to do, because he knows better.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's chain of command. It just sounds a little scary when you hear it. That
blindly following
to Sergeant Twining when he gets home, where his Uncle Sam's body has been delivered for, funeral stuff. On his way out, Twining takes the opportunity to get just a tad too handsy with Sally, and later that night, in his Apocalypse Now themed hotel room,
why is he yellow?
On the phone confirming that he's a nasty boy.
I aim on getting a little piece of that action before I leave here.
Shit, he even says that the main reason he took this job is so he could get a bunch of widow trim. Dude's a total sleazebag, unlike the other sergeant,
that is
Jed Crowley, who's played by Isaac Hayes and is introduced with the best first line ever.
Too many rolls and jelly donuts.
Whereas Twining is suffering from creeperitis, Jed's got a legit case of survivor's guilt, since he was the only one from his squad to make it home alive.
God, how come it was me you let come home?
That's a real thing.
Over for dinner and lack of kisses. Ralph's also depicted as a skis, since he's a
How she just brushed that off?
Recent courtroom victory wherein he defended some tax shelters.
You mean you cheated them?
I'm just smarter than they are, Jody. That's all.
This may be the only movie I've ever seen with the message of, hey, make sure you pay the IRS your fair share. That night, Jody wears an amazing fucking dinosaur shirt. That's all I wanted to say. I don't really need to talk about the scene. But I did need to mention that dinosaur shirt. The next day, Jed comes over to the closed casket wake and apologizes for encouraging Sam to join the army. He strikes up a convo with Jody about his wooden leg that he got after a landmine messed him up in Korea, but assures the little kid that, hey, don't worry, the dick still work, aight?
All those other parts made it back just fine.
Jody mentions that he wants to join the service, and Jed fucking loses it, yelling about how things ain't like the old Nazi fighting days.
When we knew what we were fighting for?
Jody claps back with a patriotic fervor, arguing that everyone's got to die
when does Uncle Sam show up, by the way?
It, Jed's like, shit, kid, you're a real piece of work. And they talk about how heroism doesn't just mean killing people. That night, when the clock strikes 4th of July o'clock, Slimy Sam awakens inside his coffin, apparently summoned by this trio of teens who are just checking everything off on the list of ways to be offensive. Let's see, you got a spray-painted swastika, a celebration of the Texas v. Johnson decision, and some pretty straightforward gravesite desecration. It's enough to get Sam up and running to defend America's honor, but not before sneaking into Jody's room and grabbing all of his medals to pin to his burnt leathery flesh. Wouldn't want to be walking around looking like a fresh recruit zombie soldier, you know?
Yeah, you gotta dress to impress.
Much more respectable than this peeping Sam, some perv named Willie who's using his stilt legs to deliver the movie's requisite gratuitous nudity. After this unlikely act of voyeurism, Willie makes a second-story getaway until he winds up in a park being stalked down by Master Sergeant Sam Harper. Willie ends up running into a tree and falling onto his back, where he doesn't even try to put up a fight or move as Sam comes after him with a pair of garden shears.
I hope you got an eyeful.
The death happens off screen, as does the corpse looting, since Sam steals Willie's clothes and uses the bloody shears to make some alterations. His newly tailored attire provides a snazzy outfit to wear to the cemetery.
Pretty dope for
one of those vandals is straggling back from his friends to take a piss. Sam literally pops up to spray the kid Rick in the face, getting him so mad he can only see red.
Spray paint?
Rick passes out and wakes up
what is
inside
spray paint in
Sam's
the eye
open grave,
like?
covered in red, white, and blue paint, and also suffering from a compound fracture in his leg. In a very patient kill, Sam buries Rick to death by shoveling dirt on him, slowly but sedulously, until nothing but his hand is above ground. He finishes the kill with another weird one-liner.
Good night.
One of Rick's friends, some guy named Cleet, is that a typo? Comes back to see why Rick's lizard training is taking so long, and fails to notice Sam with his passive perception, so he winds up with a flagpole halyard around his neck, which
that's what that's called?
I learned writing this script.
Halyard?
Learning is fun. Sam feels
I was in color guard,
so he runs Cleet up the flagpole and
elementary and
salutes,
middle school.
But no one ever does. Instead, Cleet's neck breaks and he goes on the kill count. I guess Sam thought it was a sin for him to live so well. The next day, it's time for the 4th of July parade, and Mr. Crandall's flustered that his very sassy George Washington can't find his hatchet. When he goes back into the classroom
Why
to get
is it a
it,
hatchet?
he finds it, lodged right in his fucking forehead, courtesy of Master Sergeant Sam Harper. Try dodging that, you goddamn hippie. Jed kicks off the festivities with a real live cannon, which, like, where did that cannonball go?
Cannons are loud.
Is a real big small town town celebration.
We used to have one
local
that at
pageantry
Boy
and
Scout
Ursine
camp. That's how they
anti-arson
wake everybody up in the
activists.
morning.
Halloween's PJ Souls pops into the movie as Madge Cronin,
Yo, that
alongside her
purple,
husband
though.
Mac, who's played by Tom McFadden, Lisa's dad in Nightmare 2. Their son Barry was blinded at last year's celebration due to a fireworks mishap, and Mama Cronin
I've
is
also
hoping to
been
make
blinded by
everyone feel
fireworks.
totally guilty by wheeling
I
Barry around.
wasn't
Cheer up,
scarred.
Barry. At least you get to listen to this goofy band, the Abe Lincoln Story. Jesse, the third 90s fuckboy from the cemetery, steps on stage to help kick off the evening with a rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. But after a promising start, he winds up Rosanning the whole damn thing. He finishes off his performance with a half moon, which pisses off Uncle Sam. Maybe he'd respect you more if you went full bare ass. How many times we gotta tell you, Jesse? No half measures. While the mayor recovers with a proper recital of the anthem, Barry gets his face felt on by Uncle Sam. Some weird kind of connection forms between them, and honestly, Uncle Sam, there's not enough movie left to start doing shit like this.
Well, how much is left?
I don't think I do anymore.
Yeah,
While Uncle Sam wanders through the crowd, glad handing all the good little patriots, local Congressman Alvin Cummings, played by Robert Forster, shows up in an effort to rehabilitate his image after a recent financial scandal. Maybe he was using taxpayer funds to bail out attractive flight attendants caught smuggling drugs. Or maybe he's just there
What
for
is that reference to?
Flintstone-sized dinosaur
I was thinking
lids
Brett
that
Favre, but
barbecue
this
chick
is way
hacking
before
up
that.
with true culinary finesse. After she sneaks off to smoke a doob, she comes back to cook some more ribs on weed, only to find her cleaver missing. That can't be good news for these saucy little spuds who are starting a potato sack race. It's an extended
pretty long
sequence
race.
with a bland rock back.
Why are they that
During
long?
it, Jesse
Usually
really
it's
puts
like a straight
the
line.
sack in sack race by running around and knocking into all the other competitors. Holy shit, he even kicks them while they're down? What a little turd weasel. Thankfully, he gets his comeuppance
He takes
after
a
tripping
shortcut?
down
Nope.
a hill and taking a serious no-hands tumble. Good stunt work there. On his way through a lemon grove to get back to the race, he runs into Sam, who apparently also has the ability to teleport. No,
That is
seriously,
terrifying.
check it out. This is some Jason Takes Manhattan level
he's
teleportation.
being
Bam,
what?
after
He was just
appearing right
there.
in front of Jesse, he takes the stolen cleaver and frickin' hacks the dude's head off. Hell yeah, Matt all that night.
Okay, he's crazy strong.
I guess despite all his cheating, Jesse won't be getting ahead in that race after all. After spying on his wife, widow, unwidow, Sam steals a rifle from a carnival game and apparently uses it to murder Ralph, who Sally finds sitting atop a parade float.
Dude,
taking
why'd they have
his
to do it to Abe
role
Lincoln
just
again?
A bit too seriously. Sic Semper Tyrannis,
I've been to Ford
motherfuckers.
Theater.
Deputy Phil checks out the body while Sally noms on popcorn and Jody talks shit about the dead, saying he wasn't even a patriot and deserved what he got. At dusk, in a random barn, Jody's family gets into another conversation about the late Uncle Sam when the women express concern about how much the young boy idolizes him. Louise tells Jody that Sam abused her so much she was in fear for her life. And despite Jody's initial reluctance to square away this cognitive dissonance, he comes around after his mom lays down this heavy shit.
I know it's an awful thing to say, but I was so happy the day that he got married and moved out of the house, because then he'd have another victim instead of me.
Whew, damn, man, this movie gets strangely deep in between all the sack races and barbecues. Speaking
up.
of barbecues, the grill girl is our next victim after she opens up her meat smoker to find Jesse's head getting cooked well done. She's killed off screen when Sam grabs her and makes her head join Jesse's on the grill. The mayor takes after his Amity Island idol and encourages folks to just carry on with their 4th of July festivities despite the recent deaths. He goes to introduce the fireworks, only for the spotlight to fall on Congressman Cummings, strapped against some wooden lattices with a handful of sparklers sticking out of his suit. At the fireworks control panel is Uncle Sam, who starts flipping switches and lighting these bad boys off.
How do you do that
uneven reaction to the sight until Sam hits the final switch and kills off Cummings for good with a giant explosion. That finally gets them concerned. The
That's not
blast
gonna
ends up
cause a
blowing
fire or
Deputy
anything.
Phil backwards down a hill, at the bottom of which Sam is waiting for him with the stars and stripes.
What?
Not the stars and bars. That's the Confederate flag, and I'm real sorry for making that mistake in Purge election year. Phil falls straight onto the flag.
Is that what it
and
was
gets
actually
impaled
called?
through the back for a
Dude,
pretty
what a
solid
catch.
and decently gory kill. Even had some guts coming out there. Not bad, Uncle Sam.
Also, the
After
entire
Barry's
flag
parents
passed
run out
through
of
his
the movie,
body,
he
by the
tells
way.
Jody not to worry about the killer running around because somehow, through the power of touch or whatever, he knows that it's Jody's Uncle Sam.
My Uncle Sam? But he's dead. I never said he wasn't.
This movie's something else, man. Jed finds the kids and tries to usher them out of this war zone, and that's when they tell him their theory that the killer
you gotta be
is
moving
Jody's
faster than
undead
that. Also,
uncle.
do you
Jed doesn't
wheel the
like
kid in the
it.
wheelchair or do you just pick the kid up?
Cut it out.
But after they go back to
like,
Jody's
at that
house
point,
to
don't you just, like, pick up the
casket,
kid and be
find
like,
some
yeah, no, we're
supporting
leaving
evidence
and
for
running.
the theory when, instead of Sam, the body inside is creepy Sergeant Twining, dead of what looks to be a slit throat. Damn, was hoping for something more on screen for this creeper, but what are you gonna do? Now that Jed is on board with the whole undead soldier theory, he and the kids head to Louise's house where they find her striking a real nice Norman Bates pose. After she calms down, Jed upgrades her weapon to a ranged attack and goes to use her phone. In the kitchen, Jed discovers the Uncle Sam mask before he's outright confronted by the burnt up undead Sam Harper, who blames Jed for his current condition. Jed says no F that ish. Sam just killed for the sake of killing instead of for the sake of his country.
Did they know each other?
Tells
Like,
him to go
were they
out
in the
and
same
get,
squad?
But Sam responds by throwing Jed through the living room partition in yet another solid stunt. That's maybe the best thing this movie has going for it. After Sam walks into the living room and takes a few shots from Louise, she and Jed run off to go get the town cannon while Jody stays behind to fake sympathy for Sam. Jed quickly hitches the cannon to his
a relatively
America
famous
truck,
stunt
brings
guy.
it back to
Stanton
Louise's
Barrett.
house,
He was
where
the stuntman in
Barry
Spider-Man
was just
movies.
chilling by himself on the sidewalk this whole time. What the fuck?
Who let this kid?
Sam tells Jody that he's back
I guess
from
the kid
dead
doesn't
to
know
recruit
it's
the little
nighttime.
lad for I don't know, zombie soldier shit, I guess. But in order to join him, Jody will have to be dead first.
Are you volunteering?
Jody knows that volunteer work looks great on college applications, so he takes Sam's hand and goes to step outside onto the porch with it. It's all part of a ruse, but Jody still chooses some very weird phrasing for his fake proclamations.
Can you all see us? We belong together.
At Barry's precocious insistence, Jed lights the cannon fuse and Jody gets the hell out of the way. The cannon lands right in front of Sam with a huge fiery explosion that knocks Jody down. But of course, it doesn't actually finish off Uncle Sam, because here he comes out of the flames in a pretty good fire stunt that features one of those creepy-looking fire suit masks. But everyone knows that Chef has 2 balls, so Jed loads another one into the cannon to put an end to this extended
I'm pretty sure you need a ramrod
lighting of the fuse, he fires
cannons.
a second cannonball that lands a direct hit on Uncle Sam, sending him flying back into the house, which inexplicably friggin' explodes.
I mean,
what
the
was
cannonball
Louise doing
exploded.
in that house of hers, cooking up a whole bunch of meth? Whatever brought this explosion
Okay,
about.
no,
All I know
why
is
did it
that
explode
Barry
again?
is fucking pumped about it.
All right.
The movie ends with Jody burning all of his war toys, because, like, fuck the ozone layer, before turning back towards the camera in a very unnecessary slow-motion shot that turns into an even more unnecessary shattering glass effect. Who was making these decisions? Can this mess of a movie be salvaged by a decent body count? Let's find out and get to the numbers.
I don't.
Oh, that was loud.
James. Like, I don't think it was necessarily like bad or anything. Like, that was actually pretty cool.
Including Uncle Sam himself twice. The victims consisted of 15 guys and only a single girl, giving us a pie chart that's even more imbalanced than usual. With a runtime of 89 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average about every 5.5 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Deputy Phil Burke. There were a couple other contenders, but Phil wins out because he was killed with an American flag.
And the flag also went all the way through. Yeah, the flag went through.
Kill goes to Ralph, whose body is discovered with a pinpoint-sized fake bullet wound in the side of his head. Yo, Lincoln got shot in the back of the head movie, and that's it.
The back
Uncle
of the face.
Sam came out in 1996 and was directed by William Lustig.
Okay, we have to know. Was it 96 or 97?
The earlier film Maniac. I hope you all have a happy
Maybe it was like
and I'll be back
New
on
Year's
Friday with a brand new franchise.
or time zones.
Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill
Jurassic
Count.
Park will be
thanks a lot
next
for
week.
watching this Kill Count. I want to thank a couple of patrons like Sam Ghazi and Aaron Mounts. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I hope you celebrate it safely. On Friday, we start a brand new Kill Count series that will go on
Jurassic
for 4
Park,
weeks.
which I wouldn't say is necessarily like a horror
that'll
movie.
last 3 weeks, and then it'll be August 24th, which is Halloween time. I mean, Halloween Kill Count time. It won't actually be the Halloween holiday. That's October 31st. All right, y'all, be good people. Movie footage used in the Kill Count is owned entirely by the Movie footage used in the Kill Count.
And now we're Never Hike Alone. 2017. Never heard of it.
Ownership and simply uses the footage for purposes of education, commentary, and criticism.
I don't think I've ever been hiking alone.
Support filmmakers and the art of filmmaking by watching Never Hike Alone in its entirety.
Yeah, the last time I went hiking, Kirby had a panic attack because my thing with hiking is I climb things I probably shouldn't. Like if I see a rock or tree that looks climbable, I'll just climb it.
Tally up the victims and all our favorite horror
like in a safe manner,
I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Never Hike
or
Alone,
I'll
the Friday the
sit on the edge
13th
of a
fan
cliff,
film released
or
in 2017 by Vincent DeSanti. I met Vincent at Monsterpalooza
Why is
this
he
year
tall?
and interviewed him in my video covering the event. He told me that with Never Hike Alone, he wanted to make a back-to-basics style Friday the 13th film and make Jason scary again,
okay, so it
instead
is
of the
Jason.
more ridiculous campy stuff that the original series delved into near the end. Working between 9-to-5 jobs with a budget raised on Kickstarter, DeSanti and his crew persevered to bring the Friday franchise into the modern era of GoPros and vloggers. And as a reward for all his hard work, DeSanti himself got to play Jason Voorhees, or at least share the hockey mask with stunt performer Brian Forrest. Never Hike Alone is actually available for you to watch entirely, right now, for free on YouTube. It's less than an hour long, so click that button up there and check it out.
Well, that probably helps with the budget.
As high a body count as the feature films that inspired it, it is successful as an atmospheric suspense thriller with some real nice
probably
fan
better
service
than a
near the
lot of
end.
movies.
So let's celebrate Friday the 13th by taking a trip back to Camp Crystal Lake and counting up some more kills.
So
the movie begins
how are you able to make a Friday the 13th
that really
like
help sell the professional
Jason-esque movie?
Film.
Like, how are you allowed to do
Near
that?
that
Do
beautiful
they have
blue
permission?
Crystal Lake is this vlogger Kyle McLeod, who's going on an arduous hike. I like him because he's not afraid to troll his fans a little bit.
So let me catch any noobs out here. That's right. Looking at you, Hiker Man 5000.
Haha, yeah, Hiker Man 5000. Just kidding, dude. You know we love you. With his
Dude,
trademark
I bet you the
sign-off,
top comment
wow,
on this
Mr.
video is
McCloud
by someone with the
away
name
from his
Hiker
car
Man
and hardcore
5000
Henrys
or whatever.
himself through the woods in a rockin' montage eerily similar to one I made a few years ago about Tough Mudder.
What? I need to see that video from James then. Oh, wait, James actually did that?
He reaches his
Actually,
first checkpoint and sets up camp for the night, doing some spawn con inside his tent for a Day of Defeat style collapsible shovel, even though he's not a true believer in the product he's hawking.
Seems like a piece of shit to me.
Unlike when I advertise Shudder or Crypt TV, which are products I enjoy so much, I'm giving them a free shout out right here. Get that promo, y'all. The next morning,
that's why you don't see Brandos on the channel. Unless I truly believe in
he
that
sees a trail
company or
that
product,
isn't on any
I
of
don't
his maps.
promote it.
And as you'd expect a hiker with a GoPro to do, he sets out to explore it. The trail takes
If
him
I
to a
wouldn't
sign
spend my
that
own
says
money
no
on it, I wouldn't
trespassing.
promote it.
But as we see in the background while Kyle records a vlog, it looks like Jason don't think the rules apply to him. As Kyle decides to cut through the area anyway to get to the lake, there's an unlikely scare when Jason appears right next to him, only to promptly disappear in the next cut. This must be zombie teleporting Jason from the 6th or 7th movie onward. Kyle shakes off his heebie-jeebies and trespasses anyway, eventually getting to the infamous Crystal Lake. Oh, look at that little island.
Wow, it looks so beautiful. It looks like a golf course.
Great Mama Shrine Shack. With the sun setting in a few hours, Kyle decides to cut up some firewood and make a camp,
With the
and that's when he
shovel?
trips over a sign telling him exactly where he is. He finds Camp Crystal Lake itself, and inside one of the cabins is a calendar from 1980 saying it's June 13th. Yeah, I know, that's a Friday the 13th. But it's also apparently a nudie magazine day. Nudie magazine day. Aside from old-fashioned 2D smut, Kyle also finds a ribbon with
modern
the number
age.
6 on it, hanging in front of a shower stall that's very bloody on the inside.
Oh.
The ribbons Kyle finds are all crime scene markers of the kills we know and love from the
Nobody
original
cleaned
film.
it up?
Nice little feature for us fans. This marker corresponds to Marcy, who went from singing in her underwear to dead via head axing in the blink of an eye. In the main lodge of the camp, Kyle pokes around in the fireplace and knocks down a dead animal. A cool bathtub takes us outside where he disposes of the body. And after doing that, he sees another one of those ribbon tags, marked number 3 and corresponding with good old body oil Steve Christie, who was killed with one of those just off-screen gut stabs. Kyle decides to make camp
it's been
inside the
so long
cabin,
since I watched
where he
those.
vlogs and
I like
tells
that it
his
actually
Cloud
calls
Crew
back to
fans
that,
all
though.
about the backstory of Jason Voorhees, a tale he learned from his older brother when he was a kid. He takes his camera out to explore the camp some more, and while he's walking around,
yeah,
looking like
so
he's
it's not one of
with
those
a
things where it's
blowout,
like
he
it's a
finds
movie,
another
it's an
ribbon
actual
marked
thing.
with a 2. And by now, he's also figured out that these ribbons are marking crime scenes, so he's not too surprised by
Is
what
that
he
actually
finds when he
how they
opens
do
the
it,
door.
though?
It's a bunk bed with a bunch of bacon juice all over it, because this is the site of one of the franchise's most
that's through the
iconic
bed,
kills
isn't it?
and the first ever Golden Chainsaw recipient, the arrow through the neck that killed Jack in the original. In the kitchen where Crazy Ralph once played peekaboo, Kyle finds another ribbon with a 5 on it. This one's the toughest to tell, but judging by the rope on the ground nearby, it's gotta be Brenda, who was tossed through the window wrapped in a blanket of ropes. A banging noise takes him upstairs, which, like, going upstairs and
Why would you go
following
up-
creepy
also,
noises, Kyle?
no
Are you even
case on the
trying to
GoPro?
survive this thing? But the noise ends up being an innocuous second-story door to nowhere
gun or
that
anything?
Kyle
Okay.
explains used to be used for getting heavy furniture upstairs. Cool, Kyle. Want to explain this messy sleeping pit that has a birthday card on it addressed to a special boy? Or how about this rotting Pamela head tucked under that blanket? Yep, Kyle has stumbled right into Jason's lair,
mom,
and
right?
the J-Man appears behind him
Oh,
and
hi.
takes his new victim, gift wrapped in a bedsheet, and tosses him out that second-story doorway. Then Jason grabs a nearby axe and hops down to do some stalking without even bending his knees on the landing.
He doesn't
You're
need
gonna
to.
feel that shit when you're older, Jason. Kyle is able
What do you
to
mean
narrowly
older? He
avoid
is
a
older, or
lineage-ending
maybe he's not.
injury, and then we get our first look at this movie's Jason, nicknamed Ghost Jason by fans. As Kyle
Why is he
feebly
Ghost
fights
Jason?
him, I've got to say, Ghost Jason's looking pretty good. Must have found a new hockey mask though, since
he's
this
super
one's
strong.
missing the Part 3 axe slash. Eventually, Kyle is able to get the hell away from this masked maniac, who heads
Gotta be
back
fast.
inside to retrieve the weapon he gets an attack bonus with, his trusty old
Oh, the
machete.
machete.
Jason stalks Kyle through the woods on some heavy fucking feet.
But also, he can kind of
This guy's
teleport.
stomping around the woods
Well.
like he's Lucille Ball making wine. Eventually,
Who?
Kyle trips over the no trespassing sign and really
Oh,
messes
that's
his leg
irony.
up. Break the rules, suffer the consequences, my man. Still,
Bro.
he's able to evade Jason and run off,
Get out of
disappearing
there.
into the woods as dusk falls. An injured Kyle finds a quiet moment to speak into his GoPro, where he does the usual tragically doomed person with a camera routine, namely telling whoever's watching what happened and leaving an I love you message for
And
his
he's gonna
parents.
get
So
got?
that out of the way,
No?
he heads back to the camp because he figures he won't survive his injury without the med kit from his
Huh?
pack. On his way there, he sees another
What?
ribbon, number 4, hanging over a doorway, marking the location where Bill was found as a human pincushion
Going-
by Alice.
going
He
back
gets
for a
inside
med
and
kit.
gets his first aid kit, then hides from the
His
Jasonsaurus
wound
Rex.
isn't that bad, is it? If he was ate all those hours?
Seriously, those footsteps are so heavy, he's probably got the whole of Crystal Lake rippling like a glass of water. Kyle fixes himself up underneath a table in a self-stitching sequence that really shows off the excellent work by special effects makeup artist Kelsey
Okay,
Burke.
yeah, no,
On
that's
his way
bad.
out,
Okay, yeah,
Kyle
that's
has
bad.
to hide
That's
from
pretty
Jason
bad.
like he's playing Friday the 13th the game. And just like in that that game, hiding proves to be
I wonder if
useless,
that they
Jason
took some
just
inspiration
smashes
from
through the door
that.
and starts clomping around.
I mean, that game
to
wasn't
find
out
it. Jason
yet, I don't
eventually
know.
finds Kyle with a jump scare and a missed opportunity machete stab through the door. Kyle fends him off with the door itself, but only for a moment.
Did he just
before we get a fight with a
outstrength
couple of
Jason
nice pro wrestling
Voorhees?
beats to it. First, Kyle hits the big man with a friggin' chair, and
He
then
does not
Jason
care.
comes back with an Undertaker/Kane style chokeslam through a table. By God, this ain't a TLC match. When Jason goes to grab the machete for his signature
He's gonna be
finishing
gone?
move, Kyle takes the opportunity to run off.
Yeah.
Because of his
I
injured
thought he was
leg,
gonna be gone.
Jason catches up to him no problem, and they begin a fight for the ages. Machete versus collapsible shovel thing. Eventually, Jason
the shovel's
smashes
gonna
Kyle's
break because it's
arm,
not a good
Kyle
product.
grabs a
Let's
nearby
see.
rock to hit Jason in the face with and knock his mask off.
Oh, we
Let's
actually gonna
what
see
this
Jason's
Jason
face?
looks like behind it. Well, as expected, it's a face only a deranged mother could love.
Ugh.
Kyle runs off in fear while a very embarrassed Jason grabs his mask to cover up that ghoulish visage of his. Kyle finds the axe in the tree and arms himself, then applies a little
Dude,
more
the
first aid to his
also,
new wound. Jason
bro's
tries to
fight or
sneak up
flight
behind
is
him,
fight
but,
against
bad
Jason
chance with those
Voorhees.
loud-ass moon shoes you're wearing, dude. Kyle spins around in an attack maneuver, but the look on his face says it didn't go so well. Because turns out Jason landed a machete hit straight in Kyle's chest.
That's
They don't
not
call
good.
the match just yet, because there's some nasty blood
Oh.
oozing out of J-Man's hockey mask. That's because Kyle also
Ooh.
landed a hit with his weapon. So both of them fall to the ground together, threatening to end this skirmish in a draw. But turns out neither of them are out for the count.
What
the
do you
machete
mean?
stab was at least partially stopped by Kyle's handy guidebook. So even though
Oh.
it got him a little bit, it could be a lot worse.
That could be
then,
way
after Kyle
worse.
gets up to leave,
Also,
he of
Jason's
course looks
definitely
back at
strong
his
enough to go through
axe-ridden
that.
foe to see the undead man-child is still ready to rumble. With that, he takes off into the
Is he
woods
gonna run
once
away?
more, right
Probably
as
should.
Jason rises up from the ground. Morning comes, and that means it's time for a good
He
lake
going
wash.
all night?
Kyle sees one final ribbon marked with the number 1, signifying the beachside decapitation of Mama Voorhees herself, the
Oh,
kill
yeah,
that
she
set
was
our
the first.
silent but deadly serial murderer in action. Then Jason recreates his first
Oh.
appearance in the series
Out of
when
the
he
lake?
jumps out of the lake and grabs a hold of Kyle's head. In an excellent moment,
was
with
it-
some more great
Yeah, his
effects,
whole deal was
Jason
water,
straight
wasn't
up
it?
crushes Kyle's
'Cause
head
he
in his
drowned.
hands with an awesomely disgusting crunch. Turns out to be a hallucination, so I won't put it on the count.
Wait,
but
where has he
serious
been?
props again to Kelsey Burke and the fake head she made for this scene. Look at it, that thing is dope. Like I said, Kyle wakes up from the hallucination to 2 paramedics, this nice lady Denny and a dude named
Jason?
Axel.
Huh? Oh, hey!
What? Another medical dude named Axel? But is he
Wait, what-
pervy
what?
like the one we all know and love?
Wait, who are we
Damn,
talking
look at the beard on that
trying to-
vagina.
He is.
What
he is.
did he
Nice.
just
And
say?
if you think that's good fan service, hold on to your butts. Because the third paramedic in this movie is Tommy frickin' Jarvis. That's right,
trying to remember
motherfuckers.
who-
Tom Matthews from Part 6 Jason Lives reprises his iconic role to be T-Jarves once again. And as he calls the situation into dispatch, he's greeted by an old friend.
Oh.
He's yanked out of the ambulance, and the other paramedics hear him struggling, so Axel goes out to help him, only to reappear a minute later with the axe in his gut, finally allowing us
Dude,
to start the
the-
kill count process.
also, they took his shoes
sometimes
off?
movies wait until the end for the kills. Remember Get Out? And we double up the
True.
count right away.
Well, also,
after
yeah,
Denny
if
is
he had a
pulled
leg
out of
injury,
the
they would take
ambulance
off his
by
shoes.
Jason and given an off-screen death that we can hear involves a whole lot of body beating against the ambulance. Since he's on a roll,
That's
Jason
not good.
stands in front of the open ambulance door.
Dude,
and
he has
appears
a
to be
beef
ready
with
for
him.
A hat trick with Kyle, who now looks like assistant director Wes from Nailed It. But Jason is stopped by the formerly Feldman Tommy.
Hey, Meganhead!
What?
Remember me, asshole?
Tommy takes off
Oh,
and saves
wow,
Kyle's
okay.
life, leaving a very unsatisfied Jason behind with only a pair of kills to his name. The movie
Just
ends
left the
with
two
Jason
behind.
slowly walking after
That
the
sucks.
ambulance. I'm sure you'll catch up eventually, J-Man. Don't worry. In the meantime, how many kills did this ghost Jason nail down? I mean, you already know the answer, but let's get to the numbers anyway. Yeah, dead meat out!
Dude, he gets so smart
Only 2
with the
people died in
transitions.
Never Hike Alone.
What?
Hey, this thing was more about ambience than bloodshed. The kills had 1 lady
Is
and
that
1
the
pervy
lowest
dude,
kill
giving the
count
genders
ever?
of the victims an even 1-to-1 ratio, literally. With a runtime of 54 minutes, we had a kill on average every 27 minutes. I'll give the golden
27, my
chainsaw
favorite
for
number, and my
coolest kill
age.
to Axel, since his was more on screen and had more blood, of course. That means Dol
Oh, yeah,
Machete's
those are the only
lamest
two-
kill
yeah.
goes to Denny, who was slammed against the ambulance off screen.
I
But at
mean-
least her kill was confirmed by that shot at the end. And that's it. Never Hike Alone came out in 2017, and as of today, Ghost Jason and Kyle MacLeod are being added to the Friday the 13th puzzle game, an illustrious
There's a
honor
puzzle
that's
game?
bestowed upon only the best
I
hosts
guess
of horror. Hope you enjoyed
that
this
makes
Friday
it
the 13th
canon.
treat. We'll get back to dinosaurs tomorrow. Until
Back
then, I'm
to
James H.
dinosaurs?
Neese. This has been the Kill Count.
Yeah, Jurassic
Thanks a lot
Park will be
for
next
watching
week.
this special little Kill Count. I want to thank a couple of patrons like Michael J. Bade, Winter Phoenix, and Wyatt Goodall. Like I said, if you haven't watched
Wow.
Never Hike Alone, make sure you check it out.
Yeah,
It
no,
has a
it's
small
free
body
on
count, but
YouTube,
it
like
is
what?
really good filmmaking. Yo, this machete, signed by Kane Hodder himself. And my Roy Burns mask came from Daniel, the fan featured in the Monsterpalooza video. So make
The
sure you
what?
watch that to see Daniel
Mazdapalooza?
and Vincent DeSanti. Be good people.
That's pretty sick. So, that was Uncle Sam and Never Hike Alone. 2 very, very different movies from, what is that, like 20-some years apart? Yeah. 20 years apart, almost 21 years, 20 or 21. We're not sure when Uncle Sam actually came out, but I'm sure the comment section probably knows or something like that. I already know the top comment on the Never Hike Alone video is going to be somebody with the name, the hiker guy 5000 or whatever it was. That's just going to be funny. But next we're going to do Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park, and then I guess we'll do we do Unfriended in between, or do we continue Jurassic Park with 3 and 4 and then come back and do Unfriended and then start the Predator franchise, which I think I've seen clips of the very first Jurassic Park movie. I definitely haven't seen the second one, but I've seen the Jurassic World movies. But obviously ahead of my time. I was born in 1997. But this is Uncle Sam and Never Hike Alone. Let me know if you've actually watched either of these two movies and what you thought of them, because like I said, I do read every single one of your comments, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. But until next video, take care and keep the music.
We were playing